For viewers who enjoyed Clint Eastwood's 1985 western Pale Rider, one underrated 60s movie starring Glenn Ford is well worth a watch. Pale Rider is unique among Clint Eastwood's many western movies as the 1985 revenge story sees the director and star toy with supernatural elements more explicitly than ever before. When a family is driven out of their hometown by a mining magnate's hired goons, a mysterious drifter appears to assist them in standing up to the money-hungry developers. Eastwood himself admitted that his title character was a ghost, lending the western movie a rare air of paranormal flair after High Plains Drifter played with the concept of making Eastwood's character an outright ghost. Pale Rider took things further and became the only movie where Eastwood plays a supernatural character. Outside this twist, most of the movie's plot is an homage to 1953's iconic Allen Ladd vehicle Shane. There, a gunslinger also stands up for a family who are also unfairly targeted by violent goons hoping to take their land via intimidation tactics. Despite this obvious creative debt to Shane, there is another western that Pale Rider fans ought to seek out for further viewing. Glenn Ford's Heaven with a Gun character is very similar to The Preacher. Pale Rider borrowed from Glenn Ford's earlier 1969 western. Glenn Ford as George Temple in The Fastest Gun Alive. 1969's Glenn Ford movie Heaven with a Gun technically has a few differences from Pale Rider. The hero isn't a ghost, for one thing, and the land dispute is over water rights rather than mining. However, as well as being a fun western in its own right, Heaven with a Gun is very similar to Pale Rider in terms of its story and style. Arriving at the tail end of the 60s, Heaven with a Gun takes Ford, the star of many Golden Age westerns, and drops him into a murkier, bloodier story that feels in tune with the decade's darker offerings while not as peerless as Sam Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch or Clint Eastwood's best western The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Heaven with a Gun does imbue the world of Ford's weary gunslinger with the grit and nastiness of these violent, morally complex revisionist westerns. The ending might be shockingly idealistic, but it only arrives after Ford's Jim Killian has done a lot of bloodletting in the small town of Vinegaroon. The brutality of the 60s anti-westerns meld well with Ford's old-school performance, offering a marriage of Golden Age and revisionist western aesthetics in the same story. Why Heaven with a Gun is worth watching. Heaven with a Gun strips away Eastwood's supernatural ambiguity. Since Heaven with a Gun doesn't feature the same supernatural elements as Pale Rider, it is admittedly a little less of a guilty pleasure. However, it is also not a western where the bad guys win in the end, and the protagonist learning to put down his guns feels genuinely revolutionary in a genre where violence is usually only ever met with more violence. After the repugnant events earlier in the movie, Heaven with a Gun's ending is a surprise that even Clint Eastwood's Pale Rider can't match and a welcome reprieve for western viewers who are tired of thoughtless bloodshed.